When you think of guest characters in gaming, a ton of people immediately jump to Smash. And that's not undeserved. Smash Ultimate is constantly pushing the boundary of its world record for most game series represented in a single game. But gaming has so many crossovers that only talking about the big ones like Smash or Marvel vs. Capcom really limits our perspective on third-party characters. So in honor of a video about crossovers, I thought that I would have a crossover of my very own. Hi, it's me, the one and only Spider-Man. Mr. Aaronitmar hired me to introduce this video. What, you don't believe I'm actually Spider-Man? Alright, if I wasn't Spider-Man, then how would I know that I was a secret character in the hit Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 video game? There you go, I mean, that is undeniable proof that I know that I am Spider-Man. Can I get paid now? Guest characters and crossovers in gaming are always a treat for the fans, and they're a fantastic marketing tool too. They get players from both groups talking about one thing, they bring publicity to the product, and if all else fails, the players at least get a fun or cool character in a video game. These crossovers range from, why the hell did they put that in the game, to, well, it's about time. Some game series are built on these crossovers. No one in the world would have thought that Mario and Sonic would be in the same game. I mean, they're rivals, they hate each other, right? Sega and Nintendo were enemies in the early 90s. Sonic was created to counter the popularity of Mario. Well, that is until Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, and then Sonic was even revealed for Smash Bros. Brawl later that same year. A lot of times these crossovers are designed to sell a specific version of the game by enticing the player with exclusive content that they can't get anywhere else. For instance, where else would you be able to play Tekken with Nintendo costumes? Only on the Wii U version of Tekken Tag Tournament 2, of course. Nintendo always has an unpredictable level of partnership with other companies. Sometimes they're incredibly protective of their properties, not letting anyone use them, and then sometimes you get NBA Street V3 for the GameCube. Around the mid-2000s-ish, Nintendo partnered up with EA to allow them to use their characters in the Nintendo platform releases of their games. It was their first round of encouraging players to buy their version of the game, because you could be Mario! Everyone wants to be Mario. Except, can you really call this Mario? These always felt so low effort to me, and looking back, that opinion still kinda stands today. They look so wonky and out of place in this game, their proportions are totally different to the real life players, and yet it's just so hilarious, like, I get exactly why they did this. It makes for such a funny experience. Another crossover EA was able to snag was SSX On Tour, where again, the GameCube version featured Mario, Luigi, and Peach as playable characters. As bad as I think that NBA Street was, this feels substantially worse because it doesn't even feel like it's Mario or Luigi you're playing as. Something about seeing them in action makes it feel more like you're a dude wearing a sports mascot costume than being the actual Super Mario snowboarding down a mountain. It's like they slapped the Mario model on another pre-existing character and then hit save and it got sent to all the stores. But the game also had an exclusive map, so that's pretty cool, I guess. Perhaps the coolest of all of the Nintendo EA crossovers was EA's Fight Night Round 2, a boxing game released for the PlayStation 2, Xbox, and GameCube. This time, rather than slapping Mario in the game and calling it a day, the team developing this game went a level further and brought Nintendo's own boxing character over, Little Mac. And on top of that, he actually looks like he belongs in this world. A little cartoonier than his real-life athlete opponents, but a bit fitting nonetheless. And on top of that, the GameCube version actually has the SNES game Super Punch-Out in its entirety as a bonus game, which is also one of the ways that you can unlock Little Mac. But Nintendo isn't the only company with interesting crossovers. Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing brings Sega's, well, All-Stars together in a kart racing game. Released on every console at the time, including the token handheld version, the game was pretty consistent across all versions. The Wii and Xbox 360 versions featured use of Miis and avatars respectively, which was a nice touch. But the 360 version has one thing that makes it stand out from the rest of the other versions. Like, literally, it's on the box. The Xbox 360 version features Banjo and Kazooie as a playable racer in the game. And despite what you think about their designs or about Nuts and Bolts as a whole, this is a pretty cool addition to the game in my opinion. The developer Sumo worked closely with Rare to include Banjo and Kazooie in the game, going so far as to receive the asset library from Rare, as well as having Rare design the in-game cart that Banjo and Kazooie would use. Sonic is in a brand new game all about racing karts, and Banjo and Kazooie's newest game is all about crafting your own karts, so it just feels like a natural fit, and it's a really clever crossover. But it also turns out this wasn't going to be the only crossover, as initially Mario was considered as a guest character in the Wii version. They ultimately decided against it early on, saying that they didn't want to cross-contaminate this game with the Mario and Sonic series. It's a bit of a shame, but it's kind of understandable on the whole. And especially looking back, we're not exactly dying for Mario and Sonic crossovers, so it's not like we're missing a ton from not having Mario in that game. But that's just the start to Sonic games with crazy crossovers. A couple years later saw a sequel racing game, Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed. And if you thought Banjo being in that game was weird, well, buckle up. Get it? Because cars and it's a safety. Please buckle up when you drive. E3 2012 brought the announcement that Sega was partnering up with real-life NASCAR driver Danica Patrick by including her as a playable character in the game. And on top of this partnership happening, her primary vehicle in the game, named the Danicar, was co-designed by the Hot Wheels toy line to coincide with a real-life toy version coming out at the same time. So this makes a crazy three-way crossover. Sega, Danica Patrick, and Hot Wheels all coming together to create one of the most bizarre guest appearances ever in a video game. The game also features Wreck-It Ralph, but this just makes way more sense. Wreck-It Ralph was a Disney movie about video games, and it had a ton of video game cameos, including Dr. Eggman and Sonic. So as likely a part of a deal with Disney, Wreck-It Ralph was included in Sega's game as kind of a thank you for letting Sega have their characters be in their movie. And on the more wholesome side, with a mix of, one of the DLC characters was added in collaboration with the YouTube channel Yogscast, where one of the members of the channel, Simon Lane, was added as a playable racer, with all proceeds from the purchase of that character going towards charity. And on top of that, the version of the game released for Steam included characters from Valve's Team Fortress 2. I mean, if Sega was going for the weirdest combination of characters to exist in a single kart racing game, I definitely think they hit the nail on the head here. But there's one series out there that is consistently brought up when talking about mind-boggling guest characters. And I'm of course talking about Soulcalibur. Soulcalibur 2 dropped in 2002 for every major console at the time, so PlayStation 2, Xbox, and GameCube. But the crazy thing is that each console's version had exclusive characters. On PlayStation 2, the roster included Heihachi Mishima from Tekken, which is a huge series on PlayStation consoles. And if you thought that was a big get, Cloud from Final Fantasy VII was initially going to fill this spot, but in classic Square Enix style, the licensing agreement fell through at the last minute. The GameCube version saw Namco partner with Nintendo to bring Link from the Zelda series onto the game, which is absolutely a huge get. So we've got two games with two titan guest characters, and then the Xbox version had Spawn. Now if you're out there going, who? You're not alone. But there's actually an interesting connection here. Soulcalibur 2 introduced a brand new character, Necrid, who was designed by Todd McFarlane, who is a huge name in comics. Most notably, he's known for working for both DC and Marvel at some point, and there are some who would even argue that he is Venom's co-creator. Anyway, after becoming a huge deal in the comic world, Todd left to form his own comic company, in which he published a comic based on his character Spawn, who is of course the guest character for Soulcalibur 2. So it all kind of connects, though not really in a video game way. I mean, they got him to design this new character, and I guess in exchange he got his own character to be in Soulcalibur. Soulcalibur 2 was even re-released in HD with both Heihachi and Spawn intact, but Link is very, very suspiciously missing. When asked for a comment, Nintendo responded, but that just started the trend of crazy characters in Soulcalibur. As it continued, the series also got more and more crazy guest characters. Cosmos from Xenosaga, Lloyd Irving, Yoda, Darth Vader, The Apprentice, Kratos, Ezio, Devil Jin, Geralt of Rivia, 2B, Haomaru. I mean, this series just loves to throw truly iconic characters into their games just to see if they can. One of the funniest crossovers comes to us on the Sega Saturn, and that is Fighters Megamix. Taking from the idea of the King of Fighters, Sega brought their games together in this fighting game, including the complete cast of Virtua Fighter 2 and Fighting Vipers. But there are 10 hidden characters from other Sega properties.
The game has multiple characters from Virtua Fighter Kids. Some of Sonic the Fighter's more obscure characters also play a role in the roster, like Bark the Polar Bear and Bean the Dynamite. But by far my favorite is the inclusion of Hornet, the number 41 car from... That's right, a fucking race car is a fighter, standing on its back wheels and punching with its front. I just think we have to end it there. There is just nothing that will top that. There is nothing as stupid and as hilarious and something that they actually genuinely took effort to create. It's just hilarious to me. We gotta end here.
I'm being told that I am contractually obligated to do an outro for this video, so there were all the cool crossovers that I could not have known about because I'm too busy being a superhero. What is it? Oh, subscribe and hit the like button. Alright, I think that covers it. I'm out of here.